Okay, we're going to move over now to EVERGOLD. We're going to stay with gold, different part of the world. We're going to be moving now to northwestern BC. We're going to learn more from Keough. He is the president and the CEO. Kevin was previously the founder and CEO of GT Gold, big name from last year's news cycle, under whose tenure the company delivered the massive Saddle South and North copper, gold, and silver discovery in BC's famed Golden Triangle. GT Gold was, of course, acquired by Newmont last year for roughly $400 million. Now, Kevin began his career in the oil and gas sector. He progressed into gold and diamonds with Anglo American and De Beers in Africa, where he targeted the company into prospects that ultimately led to long life mining operations that 37 years later are still in operation. He has more than 40 years of diverse business experience on 3 continents, including service to senior ministers in previous Canadian governments, rainmaking for investment banking, venture capital, and technology firms in Canada and in the US. Since 2004 to the present, he's been the founder and served as a senior executive with a succession of both public and privately held resource juniors that are active in Canada, the United States, Mexico, and Southeast Asia. He couples a technical background, international experience with expertise in project and public company management. Kevin, great of you to join us at the Global Mining Symposium. How are you doing today?
I'm doing just fine, thanks, Anthony, and it's good to be back with the Northern Miner.
Excellent. Well, it's a pleasure to have you back. Where are you joining us from today? Are you out west?
No, I'm not actually. I'm in the Ottawa Valley, just up the valley from Ottawa.
Okay, beautiful part of the country. A little bit chilly, I would imagine, today.
Always somewhat chilly at this time of the year, yeah.
Okay, very good. Well, I'm glad you look like you're nice and safe and warm.
I am.
Hopefully you're comfortable and in a good spot to deliver us the presentation. So
well, I look forward to it, and let me get it up here on the screen for everyone. And you can see that, can you?
Yes, we can, Kevin.
Let me just check one thing here. All right. Very nice to be here again. And today I'd like to really focus on one property. It's really our Golden Line property. The company is EVERGOLD Corp. We have several properties, but Golden Line is really the property that we believe is going to drive our share price in the near term off what I admit to be our seasonal lows at the current time. And what's really significant is that we achieved in the final 3 holes of last year's drill program the discovery of our first high-grade domain. So we have a very large gold zone there that has to date been and given us broad low-grade intercepts, but now we have high grades coming to surface within it. So that's the GL1 main zone within the wider Golden Line property. So I'll walk you through that. I've already discussed the key takeaway, which was the discovery of our first high-grade domain last year at the close of the season. The GL1 main zone is really an epithermal system that appears to have something like 2.7 to 3 kilometers of strike length. It's very wide, it comes to surface, and it's somewhat akin to other major epithermal plays, as some of the viewers may be aware of. It seems to be related to a large fault that's paralleling the zone, and it offers a lot of upside potential in terms of the scale. There is a bit of a backstory to it, and it's a very interesting one. This property, Golden Line, was actually first drilled by Newmont back in 1984. And at the time, gold prices were starting their trek downwards from the highs they achieved early in that decade. And it sat, well, actually, notwithstanding the fact that Newmont delivered in every hole broad intercepts of low grade, they nonetheless let it go. In our view, there were some fundamental errors that they made in their work. To begin with, they only drilled 1 hole per pad, and they never went under any of their shallow holes with an undercut, which meant that the depth potential was entirely untested. Also, their historical drilling was quite widely spaced. So we set out, we took it on in 2013. Actually, EVERGOLD acquired 100% ownership with our IPO transaction in 2016. But the property was acquired, it had lain dormant for years in about 2015. So we've drilled it for 2 seasons. The real game changer in our view was the discovery of the high-grade domain, and I'll walk you through that. We are located in northern BC. This image here shows what we're calling the Golden Horseshoe. A lot of people are familiar with the so-called Golden Triangle over on the left side of that image. We're over on the right side in what's known as the Toodoggin area. It is a historical high-grade producer area. Benchmark metals, thesis gold, are close to us. I think Benchmark will be the first company to have a major new mine there in the forthcoming years. But Golden Line is the key property for us at the current time. This image shows a shot of Golden Line looking north along strike. And at the center of the image, you can see some of our early modeling of the GL1 main zone situated within the topography. This view here, slide 7, is really zoomed in somewhat on the previous view. It shows the geochemistry. The reds and oranges, yellows are the gold values, and the blues and purples are silver. Essentially, as you see from the scale bar on the left side, we have a very substantial, broad, anomalous area which is trending along strike of this major fault structure. This slide shows another view of it. You can see the topography there, and those blobs you see below the surface are some of the early modeling we have done, geological modeling of the GL1 main zone. Presumably at some point soon, those blobs are all going to be connected up into one continuous system, but it is large. Slide 9 again, we have, this is a view, this time with a wireframe model, geological model. The yellow in the middle is really the modeled extent of the mineralized envelope as we currently understand it. And that particular view is about 400 meters in length. The zone has true widths in excess of 100 meters. This is actually an underground view, and it's just the core part of what we currently understand as the GL1 main zone. And again, a wireframe image. There have been about 47 drill holes put in to date. Virtually all these holes hit mineralization. This view here is a close-up of what you saw previously, but looking pretty much square on. And the red tongue-like shape is the first high-grade domain we discovered late last year. And what is rather surprising about that is it comes to surface between the historical drilling. So that's exciting. We expect to find a lot more of these high-grade domains within the broad envelope as we move forward, as we explore to depth and as we explore along strike. Slide 12 is another model we've done of the GL1 main zone. And as I said before, it's likely that all of these blobs, as you currently see them here, will be connected up as we extend the drilling, fill in the gaps, and push out below. This slide here, 13, really shows some of the historical numbers we generated. This is in particular the high-grade zone, the domain we drilled last year. And in essence, all the holes we put in carry these broad intercepts of bulk tonnage style. For example, the 40 meters of 2 grams at the top of the image there. And within it, you're getting real high grades through 2, 3, 4, 5 meters at 10 grams, highs to 29 grams, 44 grams. And that's always within, of course, these broad bulk tonnage style intercepts. So it's setting up as a very attractive zone potentially from a mining standpoint, given that it outcrops to surface and is open in all directions. The next couple of slides are just focused on the high-grade domain, which we delivered late last year, and which, by the way, was so late in the year that it was really lost on the market. We are a very seasonal company, of course. Being in northern BC, our share price is very volatile. The news flow tends to be limited, of course, over the winter, and our share price really follows that kind of cyclicity. That is something for investors to be aware of. Now is actually a very good time to get into the story in anticipation of what's to come from the summer program. But if you examine these sections, this section view here, you will see genuine high-grade gold and silver numbers. Here, for example, on the right of the image, 31 grams of gold, 924 grams per ton of silver over narrow intercepts within the much broader low-grade envelope. This is actually a close-up of the same high-grade domain, and that the core assay values you're seeing on the trace of the drill holes there is actually only about 20 meters vertically from surface. Again, this is the view of the deep high-grade domain. Same domain, but much deeper down, and not deep by the comparison to anything that's done in the Canadian Shield. This is at about 170 meters vertically, but again, you're getting these high-grade numbers, 5.4 grams of gold over 11 meters, 31.7 grams per ton gold, and a lot of silver too. This is some of the material that we've delivered with the drill bit from last year's drilling. Again, it's an epithermal system. It carries enhanced values of lead and zinc, although the bulk of the rock value is in the gold and silver. This is how it appears as a full box shot, very typical. A lot of iron carbonate giving it that color. And this is a plan view showing the trend to the northwest of the zone. That's over 100 meters between the orange dashed lines. The trace of the high-grade domain is in red dashed there, and the drilling is shown both blue. The blue is the assays for silver, and the red-orange values are for gold. Again, further an additional view of the profile. This on geology. Basically, it's volcanics and the large fault structure trending along the northeastern limit of the zone. Where this goes is anyone's guess at the current time, but it shows indications of being a very big system. It's trending off to the north-northwest. We're not quite sure where. It's trending as well to the southeast. And we know that both from the surface geochemistry, which we've done a lot of, as well as some isolated drilling in those directions. So the focus this year really is to get right back into the high grade that we delivered late last year. So we have a drill program already planned. We are fully financed for it. We have over $3 million in the till at the current time, no debt. We have about 75 million shares out. We're trading currently at around 12 cents, which really is close to our 52-week lows. As I mentioned, we're cyclical, but we have a really good team and we've done this before, and we're pretty confident about the prospects going forward. A bit of an overview here. I'm a geologist, fully qualified people, our directors and advisors. Rosie Moore, for example, came out of Kent State. She was heavily involved in the early days of the Voisey's Bay discovery. Darwin Green there is currently heading up High Gold up in Alaska. And Charlie Gregg is our key technical advisor. Charlie is famous in British Columbia real estate circles, geological real estate circles. And most recently for the discovery of the saddle discovery for GT Gold, which I set up. I will just mention before I go here, two other properties that are coming along. We really haven't talked about them
Kevin, we'll have
much.
to just get you just to wrap it up in the next 30 seconds because we are a bit over, and we have two questions from the audience that I'd hate not to have time for.
All right, I'm wrapping up then, Anthony. Rockland, Nevada and Holy Cross. Rockland will be permitted to drill this year, and Holy Cross is already permitted. So thank you very much, and that's it for me, Anthony.
Great. Thank you very much, Kevin. Great presentation. Sorry that time is not our friend.
Not a
But a question from Frank here. Kevin, have you done any resource calculations, metallurgy, and when do you plan to start the PEA?
No, we have not done any resource calculations or metallurgy yet. We don't have any firm deadline in terms of a PEA. So we're some ways out from that. The focus really has got to be a lot more drilling this summer and potentially next.
Okay, great. Obviously, you've hit upon it, but to underline it again, great success with GT Gold. What about with this one here? Do you envisage actually getting to mining? Or what do you think, what kind of returns how are investors going to realize the return on investment?
Yeah, we wouldn't take this property on, or the other ones for that matter, if we didn't feel they had that kind of world scale potential. In terms of how fast that will unfold, it's really difficult to say.
Okay, very good. All right, Kevin, well, we're excited to see what you do with this one after you're coming off your great success with GT. We wish you continued success on this one. And as you said, now a bit of a lull there with not much news flow coming out, but that's going to be changing in the coming months. So a nice entry point potentially for investors to consider.
Yes. Thanks, Anthony.
Thanks so much, Kevin. Cheers.
Cheers.
Take care.